first major India-China joint venture took off in the car auto industry by the way of $110 billion Chinese automotive behemoth SAIC, which owns and operates MG Motor brand, partnering with homegrown steel major JSW to manufacture cars for India as well as global markets. Now, JSW acquired a 35% stake in MG Motor India. Apart from this, the Indian financial institution is taking up 8% in the joint venture. Dealers are buying 3% and 5% is being kept aside for employees. The JV will be called JSW MG Motor and will take on the Indian passenger vehicle market, which is in its newer form, in a synergized form by the way of the new energy vehicles, including EVs as well as plug-in hybrid vehicles. It aims to sell nearly 1 million electric vehicles by 2030. The company wants to be the market leader in the category and take up to nearly 33% of the market share by 2030. Big plans there for JSW, for MG Motors India. The JV is saying we're going to roll out a new car every 3 to 6 months.
Absolutely. And what the company actually now defines, or rather what Sajjan Jindal has defined this as, is that they want to create a Maruti moment. And what is the Maruti moment? The Maruti moment really was Maruti coming in with cheaper cars, with lighter cars, with more efficient cars, using state-of-the-art technology, and really throwing out the likes of Ambassador and Fiat from the market in the 1980s. Now, cut to about 20 years, 30 years later, every few months, Maruti started launching new models, from the Alto all the way up to even the other, smaller cars like the Ignis and the Celerio, and then, of course, doing away with the 800, coming out with newer forms like the Espresso. So these low-cost, efficient vehicles being launched every 3 to 4 months. Let's not forget the Wagon R, which pretty much, became the signature the best-selling vehicle from the Maruti stable. So that is the sort of moment that JSW, MG Motor combined is saying they want to create. They want to inundate the Indian market with newer models. Albeit, these new models are not going to use the ICE engine technology. They are likely to be in the EV space, EV as well as hybrid. And this comes at a time, Shweta, when the government of India is also actually really putting its money where its mouth is by way of policies which are going to enable the drive of EV vehicles into India. And when I say EV vehicles into India, it's not just Indian passengers and Indian car owners migrating from traditional ICE engines to more, cleaner, greener technologies like EV and hybrid, but also making India the hub for manufacturing of vehicles which can be exported out of India. Now, what are the policy measures which the government has put in place?
But before we come to that, I read it as Maruti movement. It could just be the
It's pretty much the same thing, right?
To the layman out there, what exactly does it really mean? Does it mean better quality cars? Does it mean expansion into the passenger vehicle
market? So, like I said, and
affordability, of course, because that has been the cornerstone of Maruti.
Right. So, what did Maruti do when it came into India in the mid-1980s? It actually came with lighter and cheaper vehicles with more efficiency, better technology as compared to the incumbents. Eventually, it drove out the incumbents, right? So that was the Maruti moment. The Maruti movement, which continued for decades after that, almost 40 years now, the movement has really been that ever since the market matured in the late 1990s, early 2000s, every few months there were new models being launched by Maruti. That seems to be the plan for JSW MG Motor as well, that every few months you come out with a new variant, you come out with a new car which caters to a particular population and particular wallet size, and give them options ranging from low cost entry size pocket vehicles all the way up to more expensive ones, which may eventually start competing even with the likes of Tesla. When Tesla comes into India priced at about 40 lakh rupees, taking full advantage of the 15% import duty which the government has now finally approved. Now, coming to the point I was trying to make earlier about the policies which the government is trying to put in place to really give a fillip to the auto sector. And auto, of course, because of the large size of the Indian population and the number of cars being sold, is a great barometer to judge the state of the economy's health per se. And auto, obviously, by virtue of, the mistrust, distrust in China, factories migrating to India and India becoming an export hub for manufactured automobiles is obviously something which is likely to draw in the dollar revenue as well. So what are the policies which the government has put specifically on electric vehicles? You've got FAME. There was a 10,000 crore rupee outlay which expires on the 31st of March, just about 10 days from now. And then there's a 500 crore rupee electric mobility new plan which the government has put in place, which is going to be valid till the 31st of July. Yeah, so no, I think
the 500 crore
is not for four-wheelers, right? Then you've also got the auto PLI. The auto PLI is a mammoth 26,000 crore rupee outlay. Now, this of course has an expiry date, but until it reaches that expiry, it was 3 years earlier, extended by 2 years, it's a 5-year plan now. It really provides a lot of incentive to those auto manufacturers which can operate at scale to take advantage of that outlay of 26,000 crore rupees. Add to this, specifically in the EV cum hybrid confluence, you also have the electric cell manufacturing capability, which has an outlay again of about 19,000 crore rupees. So overall, when you look at this, we are looking at a large outlay which the government has put in place to ensure that the auto sector remains competitive. More and more manufacturing happens in India. This way, you're able to cater not just to the Indian auto demand, but you're also becoming gradually a hub for exporting automobiles to other parts of the world. So overall, it seems a fairly well encompassed strategy. I think the beauty of it really is that we have a target. Niti Aayog has set a target that 30% of India's passenger vehicles need to be electric or hybrid, and hence the FAME scheme had kicked in.
I do believe that number must change, because right now the penetration, especially with passenger vehicles, four-wheelers, is just 2%. Under 3 to 2%.
2% is the penetration, but remember, I mean, you are just about seeing that electric vehicle sort of, revolution kick in. You've also got cab aggregators like Blue Smart offering all electric vehicles. New models being launched by Tata. In fact, Tata at the entry level with the Tiago, MG itself with the MG Comet, which is pretty much, the cheapest electric vehicle you'll find anywhere in the world, priced at about 7 lakh rupees. So that becomes, and the Tata Tiago priced in a similar, 7 to 8 lakh rupee range. That becomes the entry point. And, mind you, it's very difficult to even find a traditional ICE engine Maruti variant, at this price range right now. So I'm saying the market is just about getting recharged. The competition is just about coming in. And it goes up all the way from these entry level cars to MG's own electric, vehicles, the MG ZS, if I'm not mistaken, which comes at a 20 lakh rupee price bracket, all the way up to 40 lakh rupee Tesla cars likely to come into India, and
which
then
is a new EV policy,
which is a new EV policy, going all the way up to luxury cars, including Volvo and BMW, etc. So I'm saying the whole range is gradually getting covered. And what I understand, this Maruti moment or movement for JSW MG Motor is actually going to be launching new electric vehicles at every 2 lakh, 3 lakh rupee slab, and that pretty much, promises to cover the entire market, that you have one electric vehicle, at least some electric vehicle ready, available in the market for any price point that customers want.
Absolutely, and a very ambitious plan of capturing about 30% of the market share when it comes to all types of EVs, perhaps catering to every income group, every segment, from a sub 10 lakh to over 20 lakh and 30 lakh. JSW MG Motor India is making big plans for passenger vehicles business in India.